Eala just made choices that shocked the entire tennis world, and every single one of them was deliberate, bold, calculated, unapologetic. She skipped guaranteed ranking points. She walked away from safe courts, comfortable draws, and predictable paths. While other players played it cautious, Eala went the opposite direction, hunting something far greater than a challenger trophy. And now, standing on the edge of Roland Garros 2026 with a Ukrainian warrior named Oleksandra Oliynykova waiting on the other side of the net, every gamble, every withdrawal, every raised eyebrow from analysts around the globe comes down to this single moment. Was she a visionary, or did she just hand Paris to the wrong person? Stay locked in, because what you are about to discover will change how you see Eala forever. Let's go back to the beginning. Not the real beginning, but the moment when everything accelerated beyond anyone's imagination. March 2025, Miami Open. A 19-year-old Filipina steps onto the hardcourt carrying a wild card, essentially an invitation handed to players the tournament believes deserve a shot despite insufficient ranking. She was sitting at world number 140. 140, below the radar, beneath the conversation, practically invisible to casual tennis fans outside Southeast Asia. Then she dismantled Madison Keys, the fifth seed, in clinical, devastating fashion, 6-4, 6-2. Clean, controlled, ruthless. Nobody exhaled before she did it again. Iga Swiatek, world number 2, former world number 1, the woman who had terrorized clay courts for half a decade. Eala walked out against her in the quarterfinals and won 6-2, 7-5. No drama, no collapse, just precision tennis from a teenager who played as though the occasion meant nothing to her, as though a packed stadium and a generational champion across the net were completely ordinary Tuesday afternoon problems. The Philippines erupted. Sports journalist Diane Castillo, watching from Manila, observed that fans were treating Eala as though she had already captured a Grand Slam title. That quote matters because it reveals the weight carried on those shoulders. An entire archipelago watching, millions of Filipinos across every time zone, every continent, every diasporic community tuning in at ungodly hours just to witness one of their own compete at the highest level. Former British professional Greg Rosetsky watched Eala at Indian Wells earlier this year and declared publicly that she possessed everything required to penetrate the WTA top 10. A good lefty, moves exceptionally well, competes incredibly well, he said. She is the real deal. By March 16, 2026, she had climbed to world number 29, the highest-ranked Filipino woman in the history of professional tennis. She had multiple victories over top 10 opponents. She had become the first Filipino to reach a WTA 1000 semifinal, the first to break into the top 30, the first to win a Grand Slam junior title back in 2022 at the US Open. Analysts compared her cultural impact on tennis to Li Na, the Chinese pioneer who transformed an entire continent's relationship with the sport. Others invoked Ons Jabeur's name, the Tunisian who carried North Africa on her racket strings into Grand Slam finals. But here's the thing nobody warned anyone about. Rising that fast, that publicly, with that much national expectation attached to every serve, every forehand, every line call, it creates a different kind of pressure. The invisible, suffocating kind. The kind that does not show up in statistics. And heading into the clay season of 2026, that pressure was about to get tested in ways nobody anticipated. Still with us? Good, because the decisions she made next are where this story gets genuinely controversial.
Here is where the buzz exploded. Here is the chapter that divided Philippine tennis fans directly down the middle. Heading into the European clay swing, the grueling stretch of tournaments on red dirt that separates serious Grand Slam contenders from hopeful pretenders, Eala constructed a schedule so aggressive, so strategically unconventional, that commentators genuinely could not agree on whether she was brilliant or reckless. She confirmed entry into the Italian Open in Rome, Fine, expected. That is a WTA 1000 event, the biggest tournaments outside Grand Slams, and every top player competes there. But she also entered the WTA 125 Parma Ladies Open simultaneously as the third seed, a challenger-level event running parallel to Rome's second week, positioned specifically to absorb players who exit Rome early. Smart scheduling, in theory. Then she added Strasbourg, a WTA 500 event in France, just kilometers from Paris, running the week immediately before Roland Garros. She entered the qualifying draw, meaning she would need to win multiple matches before even reaching the main draw, burning precious energy and physical reserves during the most critical preparation window of her season. 3 tournaments layered on top of each other, all conditional on how deep she advanced in each previous stop. Maximum match volume, maximum exposure, maximum risk. Why? Because the numbers told a specific story. Eala had slipped from number 29 to number 42 during the clay swing, failing to defend points earned at Miami in 2025. She carried only 35 points to defend in Madrid and 10 in Rome. Even modest victories would generate net ranking gains. She needed matches, she needed clay court repetitions, she needed momentum heading into Paris. "There are very few nationalities as loud and proud as us," she once told a courtside interviewer, smiling at the Filipino flags swallowing entire stands wherever she competed. That passion has always lifted her, but passion does not fix a ranking. Only wins do. Then Catalonia happened. Or rather, it did not happen. Eala had been scheduled for the WTA 125 Catalonia Open in La Bisbal de Empordà as the 6th seed. She withdrew before competition began, not for the first time either. She had pulled out of Catalonia the previous year as well. Consecutive withdrawals from the same event raised immediate questions. Was she managing a physical issue? Was fatigue accumulating? Was the schedule actually too aggressive even for a 20-year-old body at peak conditioning? No official explanation beyond strategic rest, just silence and a changed entry list. Then came the Parma decision that genuinely sent social media into a frenzy. After her Italian Open exit, a respectable third-round defeat to Elena Rybakina, world number 2, Eala faced a choice. Parma was right there, neighboring city. The tournament had already commenced. She was seeded third. Match wins awaited. She skipped it entirely, pivoted to Strasbourg qualifying instead. The reasoning, reported by Philippine outlets, centered on physical recovery and preparation quality. The Rome match against Rybakina had finished late Sunday evening, leaving 0 travel and acclimatization window before Parma's Monday schedule began. Choosing a higher-level event in Strasbourg, closer to Paris, with better preparation conditions, made logical sense to her team. But logic does not always satisfy a fan base watching ranking numbers fluctuate. Debates erupted on Filipino sports forums. Tennis analysts questioned whether abandoning guaranteed challenger points for WTA 500 qualifying, where a single loss sends you home empty, was strategic brilliance or expensive stubbornness. One truth cut through everything, though. Eala had reached the Roland Garros main draw players list. She was sitting at a projected number 38 in live rankings, and she was carrying 4 clay tournaments worth of hard-earned lessons into France. Bold choices create loud noise, but sometimes, just sometimes, bold choices also create champions. But before Paris, there was Madrid, and what happened there, nobody saw it coming. The 2026 European Clay campaign for Alex Eala did not unfold the way a rising top 30 player's story is supposed to read. It started promisingly enough. Linz, Austria, the Upper Austria Ladies Linz Open. She opened against Julia Grabher, Austria's own, and dispatched her efficiently, 6-4, 6-3, in an hour and 42 minutes. Clean baseline tennis, controlled aggression, the forehand doing precisely what it was built to do, dictating, punishing, constructing points from the back of the court until the opponent cracked. Then came Jelena Ostapenko in the round of 16, and the Austrian warmth evaporated. The Latvian, a former French Open champion, a player who swings for explosive winners on every surface regardless of logic, dismantled Eala's rhythm completely, winning 6-4, 7-5.
Crucially, it marked the first time Ostapenko had beaten her across 3 career meetings. Eala had held the psychological edge previously. She surrendered it in Linz. Stuttgart followed, another early exit, this time against Leylah Fernandez, 6-1, 6-4. The scoreline stings more than the result itself. It suggests Eala never truly entered the contest competitively. Fernandez, ranked number 25 at the time, controlled tempo from the opening exchange and never relinquished it. Madrid arrived next, and with it a genuine controversy that ignited tennis Twitter. Eala had defeated Anastasia Pavlyunkova in round 1 on the prestigious Arantxa Sanchez Stadium, a large atmospheric court befitting her status as one of the sport's most crowd-drawing attractions. Filipino supporters occupied entire sections, singing, waving flags, transforming a standard opening round match into a cultural celebration. Then came round 2. Elise Mertens, the 19th seed, a seasoned Belgian professional with ice-cold competitive instincts. The Madrid organization demoted Eala to Court 5. Court 5. Not the main Manolo Santana Stadium, not a secondary showcase court. Court 5, a smaller facility that substantially reduced the size of her passionate, atmospheric support base. The very fans who had driven energy into her Pavlyunkova performance were essentially absent when she needed them most. She lost 6-2, 1-6, comprehensively, decisively, without a credible path to comeback. Here is what made it uglier. Late in the second set, an umpire issued Eala a formal warning. She disputed the ruling visibly, expressing frustration directly at the chair official. The exchange was brief but charged, a rare public display of emotion from a player typically composed during difficult moments. Tennis analysts covering the event were blunt. The court assignment appeared bizarre. Eala attracts larger crowds than most unseeded players. Placing her on a minor outer court against a seeded opponent while struggling with form on an unfamiliar surface, it compounded every difficulty simultaneously. Was the Madrid organization treating one of tennis's most brightest emerging stars unfairly? The question trended online across multiple days. Heading into Rome, Eala carried that frustration, those defeats, and precisely one goal: arrive at Roland Garros with enough confidence, enough clay court sharpness to make a genuine statement. In Rome, against Rybakina, a 2-time Grand Slam finalist who had recently claimed the Italian Open title, she took the world number 2 through 6-4, 6-3 before bowing out. Competitive, composed, a performance containing enough quality to remind everyone exactly what this player is capable of when conditions align. The question heading into Paris was simple and brutal. Which version of Eala shows up at Roland Garros? The one who took Rybakina to a controlled 64-63 defeat, or the one who fell apart against Mertens on a forgotten outer court in Madrid? And then there's the woman waiting on the other side of this equation, a story that will genuinely stop you cold.
Alex Eala chose challenge over comfort. She constructed the most unconventional clay court schedule of any top 40 player heading into Roland Garros 2026. And every single decision reflected a player who believes in where she is going, regardless of how uncomfortable the path appears to observers watching from outside. Oleksandra Oliynykova chose something harder still. She chose home. She chose Kyiv. She chose to compete representing a nation fighting for its survival, arriving in Paris carrying that weight, without complaint, without drama, without asking for sympathy. When these two step onto that clay surface, two distinct stories, two radically separate journeys, converging at the sport's most celebrated address, what unfolds will remind every watching fan precisely why professional tennis, at its absolute finest, transcends sport entirely. Do not look away. If this story gave you genuine chills, hit subscribe right now. New tennis stories, real drama, authentic moments, every single week. The next one drops sooner than you expect.